Okay, Mike, thanks for coming today. It's Andy Santor, Director of Instruction, Mill Creek Golf Course, Youngstown, Ohio. For everybody out there listening, we're going to look at Mike Triglia's golf swing. Mike is a very high club head speed guy. You can see there he's pretty strong. His ball speed with his driver is about 170. So we're going to look at some of the things we did to your posture. Now, the video on the right is before any changes were made. The video on the left is after. As you can see here in the video on the right, we have he's sitting down too much. You're sitting down too much. Okay, we got your knees. You're almost kind of directly under your chest or your sternum. Okay, going to draw a line for your upper body posture. Okay, we could see after we made some changes here to your setup, got your hips hinged, got that pelvis back. I think it felt like to you weren't flexing your knees much, but you were. There's still plenty of knee flex there in your knees. Okay, and got your pelvis back, and that changed your posture. Draw another line here. Okay, also going to draw a line up those shaft planes. Okay, and we're going to go to the video on the right. We're going to get into your backswing. Okay, you can see there, talked about hand, forearm, rotation, manipulation of the golf club, trying to get away from that, trying to keep that club head in front of your chest. You can see there your hands are going out a little bit, okay? And then your forearms rotate. The club really doesn't get behind you too much, but those hands go out a little bit too much. So I want to work on keeping those hands a little bit closer to our body and keeping that club head out. You can see there your hands and arms go out away from you, and then they rotate. Okay, that's a little bit too early to be, having forearm rotation in your golf swing. Okay, then we get into our backswing. Actually get the club back to the top of your backswing. Pretty good position there. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line from here to the ground. See how your lower body is working on your downswing. Okay, pretty good in transition. But you can see there how you're getting out over the top of your shaft plane on your downswing, and then that lower body starts moving closer to the ball, and that's what gets those balls out to the right. So there we got to impact. You can see your upper body has moved backwards, your lower body has moved forward, and how I talked about forward and backward motion in the golf swing. And lateral side-to-side motion isn't good, because then it's hard for your body to rotate. So that's what causes some of those shots to go out to the right. We're going to look at the video on the left and get you to impact the same position. Okay, there, because of the better posture it address, those hands and arms don't get out away from you as much as in the video on the right, the before. So a little bit better position there at the top. Once again, you were in a decent position there at the top, but we're going to go back to the video on the right before we made any changes. Okay, as you can see, your left arm and your shoulders really don't match there. They match a lot better here. So the plane of your left arm and your shoulders match better in the video on the left after we made changes to your setup than they do in the video on the right. So just in changing your posture a little bit, that helped you in your backswing. Okay, I'm going to draw a line here, then I'm going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in that downswing. Okay, here we're going into our downswing, And you can see here you're getting out over top of the shaft plane a little bit and you're moving, once again, your lower body is moving closer to the ball. Talked about having you go see Bob Surich, a level 2 TPI fitness professional, to get some improve that internal rotation in both your right and your left hip. You can't see the face-on impact of it here, but that because of the lack of internal rotation on your left hip, your lower body is moving closer to the ball, and your upper body is going to move back a little bit as we go into our downswing. So we kind of lose our posture, and sometimes that any loss of posture, the golf club gets a little bit out of position. Okay, and I talked about where your hands. Okay, if you look in where your hands are going to need to go on your downswing. Somewhere in there. Okay, and if our lower body is starting to move closer into that space, it doesn't leave room for our hands and arms to go. So they get outside, in your case, outside over the top of the shaft plane here a little bit. Not as, but we would like to get our hands and arms down in that slot. And once again, it's hard for us to do that with our lower body moving toward the ball. Once again, we got to get our lower body, get that, in this case on our downswing, that left hip, internally rotating. So there we get into impact. Okay, and we start once again losing posture, and we talked about how you'd like to finish a little bit more on your left side, and once again, it's hard for our body to move in two different directions at the same time. So now I'm going to throw in a face-on view of your golf swing here. Okay, now we're going to look at what's happening to that hip rotation here on your backswing, and that's mostly what we're going to focus on. Okay, I'm going to draw a line here. Okay, and we're going into our backswing, and you can see that right hip, and those hips are moving, and that right knee is moving laterally. Now I'm talking about internal rotation on your right hip, so we got to improve our internal rotation on both hips. If you move laterally on your backswing, there's got to be some compensation on our downswing. So we're going to move a little bit laterally there on our downswing, and we're not going to get quite rotated enough. And you can see you get a little bit of a chicken wing here with that left arm, what's called a chicken wing. With that left arm, our arms don't get fully extended, once again, because there's too much, in this case, lateral motion side to side instead of rotational motion. So once again, let's get with Bob and work on, tell him you need to improve that internal rotation on both hips, which I left him that message. And we also want to get some separation in your pelvis and your upper body. So as you can see here, as we start into our downswing, for everybody out there, the sequencing of our downswing, a reminder, it goes pelvis, thorax, lead arm, and the club. And here, our arms are moving a little bit too much. Our pelvis here, our pelvis should be, rotated more there, or a lot of people refer to your left hip clearing out or your lead hip clearing out if you're a right-handed golfer, and there's a little bit too much side-to-side motion there. So get together with him, work on those things, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks.